I think people feel two different ways about their birthdays. They're either thrilled and happy or depressed because they have to deal with getting older. Well, Claire Bernal, who is 22 years old, was definitely in the old group. She worked as a beauty expert at Harvey and Nichols. For her 22nd birthday, she and her mum went to Florence, Italy. Everyone had a great time on the trip, and Claire really needed a break to relax. But Claire was found dead on the floor of the place where she worked 2 months after this exciting trip. They didn't understand what was going on when the cops arrived. Was it a threat from outside? It seemed like the perfect way to scare people to go after a busy and well-known place like Harvey and Nichols. But when the cops looked into it further, they found that the attacker wasn't a threat to national security, but to Claire in particular. Your scary case of Claire Bernal is based on something you've heard a lot of times. In any case, it gets even more frustrating and angry as more facts come out. Patricia Tricia and Martin Bernal had a daughter named Claire Bernal in July 1983. She was born in Groombridge, Tunbridge Wells, UK. Claire went to school in Tunbridge Wells at St Gregory's Roman Catholic Comprehensive School. She then went to West Kent College and earned a BTEC National Award there. Claire loved to play with makeup when she was a kid. Tricia, Claire's mum, says that she would spend hours making up in front of a mirror. That made it clear that Claire wanted to work in the beauty business. She then went to West Kent College to study beauty therapy. Once she got her diploma, she was ready to work as a beauty therapist. Friends and family of Claire say she was a kind and sweet person. She didn't like getting into fights, had the sweetest smile, and only wanted to make the world a better place. Claire was a picture of beauty and peace. That made her a little naive, even though she was kind and humble. As a person, Claire was also very shy, and she never said bad things about other people. Claire's mom said she didn't have a single flaw. She was nothing but peace and light, and she was a joy to be around. Claire liked makeup and skincare so much that she had done makeup for plays before. When she saw an ad for a beauty expert job at the flagship Harvey and Nichols store in Knightsbridge, London, she jumped at the chance. There is a fancy store in the UK called Harvey and Nichols. It has everything in one place: high-end clothes, accessories, and makeup. Claire was really interested in this field, and as luck would have it, she was called in for an interview. Claire was ready for her interview, and the people who were hiring could tell that every word she spoke was filled with energy. And not long after that, Claire got the call she was waiting for. She was given the job. Claire was very happy. Adam Ward was one of Claire's friends who remembers getting a call from a nervous Claire right after her interview. She said she was scared and didn't know how she did. Adam comforted her because he knew that was how Claire felt. No matter what, she would do her best, but she would always doubt herself after the event. It's safe to say that Adam was overjoyed and thrilled when he heard that Claire got the job. Claire went to Dulwich in South London after her interview. She shared an apartment with 2 other people. Claire's dream came true the moment she set foot in London. Claire loved living in the city and was having a great time in her early 20s. Everyone loved Claire because she had her dream job. No matter who Claire talked to or worked with, they all knew she was qualified for the job. Claire was quiet, humble, professional, and driven. She spoke softly and quietly, and she wanted every woman to look and feel as beautiful as she wanted to be. In July 2005, Claire's mom Tricia took her to Florence, Italy, for her birthday. The 5-day trip was great, and Claire had a great time. As they laughed until they were crying, they looked around, took lots of pictures, and had a great time. Trisha and Claire were more than just mum and daughter. They helped each other out when they were in trouble because they were best friends. 3 days ago seemed like just yesterday to Trisha. She smiles when she thinks of how happy and relaxed her daughter was during those days. But only 2 months later, someone was mean and burst Claire and her family's peaceful bubble. Claire sadly died in the process. It was September 13th, 2005, and Claire couldn't wait for her shift at Harvey and Nichols to be over. Claire liked her job a lot, but she was tired and just wanted to go home and do nothing. After all, it sounds pretty tiring to stand at the makeup and skincare station all day. Someone who works with Claire, Victoria Daniels, was just a few counters below her, and she saw Claire clean up the bar for the day. When Claire looked up at Victoria, she smiled and said, "It's almost time to close." Victoria last remembered seeing Claire's face light up with a smile. That's when she saw someone, a guy, behind her. But everything happened so quickly that she didn't even have time to think. Victoria saw a flash of black in the guy behind Claire's hand as he got closer. At that moment, the whole department store shook with loud pops. Victoria, the other workers, and they all ran out of the store. A lot of people thought it was a targeted hit. 4 rounds were heard by witnesses. The 5th round's blast bounced off the walls, and then it was very quiet. Within minutes, there were a lot of cops at the scene. As soon as they walked inside, they saw something terrible. 2 people were lying on the ground in front of the high-end store. Sadly, one of them was Claire Bernal, who is 22 years old. The second person was a man. The cops didn't know who he was, but people who worked at and ran Harvey and Nichols did. 30-year-old Michael Peck works as a security guard at the store. But here's the thing. Michael hurt himself and got hurt. Investigators got a very good picture from this. That night, Michael walked up to the bar, pointed the gun at Claire for some reason, and then pulled the gun on himself. The cops found all of this disturbing and confusing, but they had to tell Claire's family the terrible news of her death first. That's why they went to see Claire's mom, Trisha, and told her the bad news about her daughter's passing. There's no need to say that she broke down totally, but Trisha did ask the police one very clear question between tears. "Wasn't it Michael Peck?" she asked. Not only did the cops at the scene of the crime know who Michael Peck was, but so did Claire's mom. He had now killed himself along with Claire. Who was Michael Peck then? And why did he hurt Claire? And most importantly, how did everyone know about him? Why did he have to go in front of a judge? Well, this is when months and months of pain, fear, and mental torture came back to haunt them, and it had everything to do with Claire. Crystal and Michael met by chance at Harvey and Nichols, which was the start of everything. Michael Peck had citizenship in both the Czech Republic and Slovakia. He also served in the army of Slovakia, but he was later kicked out for, of all things, deserting. Michael also worked as a security guard at the US Embassy. He later went to the UK and lived in northern London. A security guard job opened up for him at Harvey and Nichols in Knightsbridge during this time. Claire also worked at the same shop. Michael was married too, but he was getting a divorce when he moved to London. When Michael saw Claire, he became interested in her right away. He fell in love with Claire's friendly and shy nature, and they talked a lot. Soon after, in January 2005, Michael asked Claire to go on a date. He asked Claire to go on 3 dates with him over the course of 3 weeks. At first, everything was fine, but Trisha, Claire's mum, didn't like Michael at all for her daughter. First, he was a lot older than her, and Trisha didn't like the fact that he had been married before. However, Claire's family says She wasn't crazy about Michael. She was just happy that he was interested in her. It was amazing how much Michael loved her and told her how beautiful she was. He even told her he loved her after only 3 dates. Michael was fun to be around, and Claire liked him, but maybe not as much as he liked her. Well, Michael wasn't really the best match for Claire after all. After only 3 weeks of dating, Claire noticed that Michael was becoming possessive, controlling, and jealous. Claire told her mum that Michael wanted her to spend all of her time with him and didn't like it when she hung out with her family and friends. He also didn't want her to ever go home. Now here's the thing. I totally get being crazy about someone. I can even understand being a little obsessed with someone you just met, as long as it's in a good way. But letting someone know that you don't want them to hang out with anyone else and almost stopping them from going home, that's a lot. And let me stress that Claire noticed this after the first meeting. She just didn't think things would get worse so quickly. To say that Claire felt like she was suffocating would be an understatement. Michael once asked that Claire pick him up from the airport after he got back from Slovakia. He also wanted to stay at her apartment, which Claire didn't want him to do. They had been on 3 dates recently. What was Claire going to do? She wasn't going to let a creepy stranger stay at her flat. Claire took Michael to the train station and told him they were done, and she didn't want to see him again. You got it. Michael couldn't understand this. He could have, but he decided not to. It wasn't bad enough that he stood outside her apartment for 2 hours, hoping she would come outside after Claire left. He called her a lot after she left. Michael was yelling, calling Claire names, and demanding that she talk to him. He only left when Claire's neighbor told him in a stern voice that Claire didn't want to see him. Claire felt pretty uncomfortable after this, and it was even worse that Michael now knew where Claire lived. Anyway, Claire thought Michael would give up the next day, but she was wrong. Michael followed Claire to and from work with a big flower in his hand and begged her to take him back. He asked Claire to marry him again, but she said no. That was the sad first step. Michael's texts, calls, and voicemails were always showing up on Claire's phone. It's crazy that he would call her almost 50 times a day. With his crazy and obsessive texts, Michael was wearing Claire down. "We are meant to be together" was written in some of his words. "Next week is our wedding anniversary. What should we do with the money?" Then the bomb went off. "No one else will have you if I can't have you." With a big D, this man was crazy. He even found out that Claire had changed her phone number, which is something stalkers usually do. Claire's brief respite from the constant texts ended with a vicious intensity. Michael didn't make it easy for Claire to work at Harvey and Nichols either. He would stare at her all the time through windows and mirrors and would try to get other store workers to talk to Claire. There was one time when Claire did talk to Michael, but after that, he pinned her to the wall and told her he loved her. He even said he knew she loved him too. Do keep in mind that this is the store's manager. That meant Claire couldn't even call for help unless it was the cops. Michael got very angry when Claire told him she didn't love him. He yelled at her, "Yes, you do, you stupid little girl." After 2 months of this constant stalking, Claire was beginning to feel more and more scared and worried. Claire had a lot of trouble at work because of what Michael did. She always had her eyes on the person behind her. She was always late to work, and she was a mess. It was March 2005 when something else very scary happened. Claire saw Michael following her as she walked back home. Michael was also able to get on the train, but she did. Michael was like a dark, scary shadow, following Claire when the train stopped and she got off. He at some point grabbed her arm, and when Claire told him she was going to call the police, His answer sent chills down her spine. "If you report me, I will kill you," Michael said. Claire was frozen with fear, but Michael did was flash his sick smile, and he got off at the next stop. But not before staring at Claire the whole time, which was even worse for her. Claire cried in front of her mum as soon as she got home and told her what had happened. Claire's family felt like they couldn't do anything. They didn't know how to help Claire, who was worried so much that she couldn't sleep. Michael should have just left Claire alone. Now she was so scared for her life that she couldn't even call the cops. As soon as Claire understood that talking to Michael wouldn't help, she made the choice to involve her bosses. After 2 months of Michael following her around, Claire finally told Harvey and Nichols about it. The head of security for Harvey and Nichols used to be a police officer, and for once, he believed what Claire said. He even used CCTV cameras to watch Michael. When he saw what was going on, he and the other people on the team decided to move Michael to a different floor because they thought that would be enough to stop Michael from bothering Claire. But it was clear that it wasn't. Michael knew where Claire lived, so he kept following her. But Michael was fired when the shop management found out. After that, the person in charge of security told Claire that she should tell the cops about Michael. Claire was embarrassed and just wanted it all to end, so she wasn't sure if she should call the police or make a complaint at first. It looks like this was a huge mistake. Michael was finally arrested, and it was interesting that he was arrested at work. It was there that the cops handcuffed him and fired him for good. But what was really creepy was how Michael looked at Claire as he was being put into the back of the police car. He was pointing knives at Claire as if she were to blame for everything. After what happened, Claire called her mom right away because she was very upset. Claire told Trisha that she didn't want Michael to get in trouble, but Michael wasn't going to stop. Claire wouldn't have called the cops if he had just stopped. It breaks my heart to know that Claire still wanted what was best for Michael, even after everything that happened. It's too bad he didn't feel the same way. She was allowed to tell on Michael, but she still felt bad about it. It's crazy to think that Claire was still trying to make things better with kindness and peace. That's the kind of person she was. Without a doubt, Claire was a wonderful young woman. At the police station, Michael was being questioned, and it was so annoying that he lied to Claire. Despite his claims that he was the one who should end things with Claire, she refused to leave his side. It was just Claire's word against his, and since the cops didn't have any other proof, they let him go. Michael was told to stay away from Claire by the cops. Not only was he not allowed to go to her house or place of work, he was also not allowed to be close to her. But Michael had nothing to worry about. He was seen waving at Claire outside her apartment just 2 days after he got out of jail. Michael ran away when the cops arrived. This also happened again, but this time he was found breaking the terms of his bail and arrested. As he was being taken away, he smiled at Claire, which is so creepy. Michael spent 8 days in Belmarsh prison. While he waited his trial, he was freed on bail again, while a pre-sentence report was made. He was supposed to show up on September 21st. Michael was given bail with the condition that he wouldn't call or visit Claire at home or at work. The cops did something very strange. There was no way Michael was going to follow through with the terms. He would do anything to scare Claire again. I don't understand why he was given bail. It was very clear that this woman was in danger. There are only 2 possible reasons why they did this. Either Claire was so nice and gentle that she didn't tell the police about the full extent of the stalking, or the cops in charge of Michael's case were just plain stupid. This time, though, Michael didn't go back to stalking Claire after getting out of jail. He went somewhere else. He planned to meet his family in Slovakia, but he wasn't there. He went there to learn how to use a gun. You may remember that Claire and Trisha went to Florence around this time. Though they were having a great time, they had no idea that this would be their last vacation together because Michael was planning something seriously bad. For some reason, he was able to bring a gun with him from Slovakia to the UK. That he bought this gun in Slovakia and got it out of the country without being caught is a mystery. The court date, August 31st, came and went without a hitch. Claire was mentally ready to give evidence in the trial, even though she was dreading seeing Michael again. But she got a call from the judge court telling her that Michael had pleaded guilty and there would be no trial. Michael, on the other hand, was free until September 21st, when he would be judged. Though this made Claire feel better, the fact that he could still be seen walking around until late September was clearly disturbing. She had no idea that Michael wasn't done with her. Michael didn't bother Claire for almost 12 days, and she felt happy and free for the first time in a very long time. Before she knew it, it was September 13th, the day everything went wrong. Michael was no longer following Claire around. He was just waiting for the right time to hit her badly. He was ready to follow through on what he said. Michael wasn't going to get Claire, and he would make sure no one else did either. Around closing time, Michael, who was armed and high on drugs, is thought to have gotten into Harvey and Nichols through the back door and crept up on Claire at the beauty counter without her knowing it. Then he pointed the gun at Claire and fired 4 shots, killing her instantly. Then he turned the gun on himself and shot himself once, killing himself too. There were a lot of workers who saw the attack, which was very upsetting and horrible. They will be scarred for life. Michael Peck, a crazy and obsessive jerk, couldn't take Claire turning him down, so he chose to make her pay for it. Following the attack on Claire and Michael's cowardly escape, everyone was shocked and scared. Since Michael took things into his own hands, there would be no consequences for the senseless and animalistic actions that killed Claire too soon. He was just out for the count. But did you expect it? A lot of people don't believe that. Stalking is something that most people don't give enough thought to. Many people who are being stalked no longer trust the police because, like in Claire's case, they don't do anything until things get really bad. Claire did all she could. She tried to talk to Michael. When that didn't work out, she reported him, but he kept getting out on bail with terms that were just words on paper and didn't mean anything. His threats came true, and an innocent person died. The killer got away with it all the way to the end, leaving the family of the victim with nothing, not even justice, peace, or answers. After a few weeks, Claire's funeral took place. Her parents were very upset to see their once full of life and loved daughter being dropped into the ground. Many of Claire's friends and family came to honor her. She had so much more to look forward to in life, but she would never get to do any of it because of one person. Even more upsetting was the fact that Claire's attack and death caused her parents to fight with each other. Martin, Claire's dad, and Trisha's ex-husband said that Trisha trivialized the abuse Claire was going through at an inquest after Claire's death. Claire was living with Martin during her last days. He also said that the police were to blame for major flaws and mistakes in Michael's investigation, such as the fact that Claire had not been through an official risk assessment. Martin also said that Claire didn't tell him about the stalking because Trisha thought it wasn't a big deal, and he didn't find out about it until things got so bad that they couldn't be fixed. Trisha broke down in tears when she went on the stand and said she was wrong to think the cops had everything under control. The woman went on to say, I was very close to my daughter and would have done anything for her. I believed the cops were in charge and she was safe. I made a mistake there and I have to deal with it. It breaks my heart to see two parents who are hurting going through this. To be honest, neither of them was to blame. But sadness can look like very strange things, and this was sadly one of them. It makes sense, but that doesn't mean it's right. After Claire's death, Trisha pushed for stalking laws to be changed and said that stalking is a serious and dangerous crime. The Family Justice Center was created when she worked with several families of people who had been stalked. This was a place where people who were being stalked or abused could go, and all of the cases that fell under this category should be considered high risk. Along with other families of stalking victims, Trisha went on many public media outlets to call for the law to be passed. Following someone around without their permission became a crime in 2012. Has stalking and other crimes that got worse since 2012 stopped? Not at all. Police still don't take stalking seriously, even though Trisha's work is amazing. At least they don't until something bad happens to the victims. The thing is, monsters like Michael don't give up, and they have no fear. They can't stop thinking about someone until fear and doubt take over their whole lives. A lot of people are quiet victims of stalking, which is a very bad crime. They're not saying anything because they know the cops will not believe them if they do. Even worse, they'll be told, "We can't do anything." Things need to change. People shouldn't have to live in fear, and they shouldn't be scared of someone just because they won't do what they want. When it comes to stalking, I find it disgusting that almost all police departments don't do anything. I get it though. If someone hasn't done anything wrong, you can't arrest them. There is something you can do though. If you know someone is stalking you, a little fear can go a long way. It's awful that Claire's family had to go through all of this. Why is that? Michael still killed himself. He could have left Claire alone and done that already. He wasn't happy until he took everything from Claire and her family though. Everything. That wraps up today's case. What do you think? Was justice truly served? Let me know in the comments. If you found this case intriguing, don't forget to like and subscribe for more true crime stories. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and keep questioning everything.